'Tis the season for holiday decorating. Welcome back to Prime. I'm Bill Pemberton. Between Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, more people decorate their homes than any other time. So we wanted to get you ready for the Christmas holidays. Dan Lee with Lee Design Group is here to help us take the stress out of holiday decorating. Greetings, Dan.
Hi, Bill.
And welcome back.
Thank you.
Well, Dan, decorating can be stressful. And is there one rule of thumb that you live by when decorating?
Remember the reason for the season. Let's keep it very simple and not be stressed out. It's a great time to be with family and friends.
Well, that sounds like words of wisdom. What about the mistakes people make? What are some of your holiday do's and don'ts?
I think one of the mistakes that people make is they don't have a plan. Get a plan, get something that's deliverable, that's not something you can't achieve. So set some objectives that that you can be reached.
Sounds like good advice. Should holiday decorating be subtle, or should we go all out?
I always think that a classic design is the best choice. It's something that you will look back over the years and appreciate, and perhaps it's a sustainable approach that you can use over and over in seasons ahead.
Very good. Well, I guess one question on everybody's mind, Dan, is how much should we spend on decorating? It can get out of hand very easily and add to the stress, and we don't want to add to stress. So give us some ideas on what makes sense on.
Well, I've had some clients who've actually hired us to come in and design their homes, and they've spent as much as $50,000. And I think at a time of the year when there's so many needy people, there's a good way to use that money perhaps differently. I think you can design your home for a few $100s and be very happy with it.
Well, that sounds like quite a challenge, but a worthwhile challenge when you think about where that money could be directed. Well, you know, when a lot of people think about decorating for the holidays, red and green come to mind all the time. It's just the standard. And of course, they do say Christmas like no other color. So, but what other color options might exist out there? What could you tell us about that?
Well, first, my mother has a pink and green house, and so she decorates in pink and green, and it looks lovely, and she's done it year after year. But I always help my clients remember that Christmas decorating is just adorning the space you already have. And so if your home is decorated in yellow, make sure you incorporate yellow into your Christmas decor. It doesn't have to be green and red.
You know, I don't think a lot of people would think of yellow when they think of Christmas, but what you're saying is just bring out work from your natural decor and put a little holiday accent into it for $200 or less. You're going to stick with that?
I am. I think if you remember that that's the backdrop that you're working with, you don't want to compete with that backdrop.
Right. So it's really more about setting a mood and creating an atmosphere than it is reinventing a room.
Most definitely. And keeping it fresh and natural is always a good decision.
Excellent. Well, I think you have brought us a whole set of pictures here today that we'll just kind of take our time and go through. Why don't you start out with number one and just sort of talk us through some gorgeous holiday design images.
Well, thank you. Yes, we brought some photographs of projects that we've done that I think are very exciting. This first photograph shows an exterior urn at your front door. You know, your first impression is your most important impression. But the beauty of this is these are large, oversized boxes that have been wrapped in holiday paper, and they can be stored away in the attic and used over and over and over. So they're the ultimate in sustainability. And the thing I like best about this is I don't have to go out there when it's cold and put up all those Christmas lights.
Boy, you're talking my language there. That is really gorgeous and doesn't look very expensive.
It isn't.
So if some bad weather hit it or something, reinventing it's just not that big of a problem. What an obvious idea. It looks like Santa Claus may still be in there by the fireplace. I like that.
And this is another simple solution. Beautiful wooden doors that shouldn't be hidden. And we've taken artichoke and used the petals from the plant itself and created very simple wreaths and of course descending sizes, and that makes a lovely natural statement.
So is that actually a door we have there?
It is a pine door, an antique pine door. The hardware is lovely, so don't hide all of that. Just embellish it.
And I'm sorry, what did you say those were made out of?
Artichokes.
Artichokes. Wouldn't have thought of artichokes as wreath material, but that's gorgeous. Looks a lot like laurel, doesn't it?
It does.
So I guess that's the desired effect. Very nice, very Texas looking door there.
Great.
Good.
The next board, I think, shows what you can do in a small space. This is, if you have an apartment or something that doesn't accommodate a large Christmas tree, You can go out very easily, buy white lights, hang white ornaments on it, put it directly on the wall, easy to take down and store away, and you have the feeling of a Christmas tree in your room.
Very interesting. Huh.
The boxes, of course, are done with theme, and if you use all white paper, it's extremely affordable, and you can continue to use the white paper for birthdays and other holiday reasons. And of course, we use just the simple candy cane and just a little bit of greenery on it.
That's hugely imaginative. Now, did I understand that if you do this, that's in lieu of a regular Christmas tree?
It is.
So actually, again, in a very space challenge situation or budget challenge situation, you can create a tree effect with essentially one-dimensional there.
And
or
it's
flat.
it's a nice thing to do because so many people try, they have multiple homes and maybe they have an apartment in another city and they don't want to decorate in all the homes.
Right.
So this gives you a very simplistic way to have the feeling of Christmas in those dwellings.
At the same time, very elegant and very
Exactly.
rich design value.
The next two slides I want to talk about are basically color themed, and that's very important. Color has so much more impact when you use a mass of the same color. Too often with Christmas, we try to throw everything together.
Right.
And in this particular case, we're using aqua on a tree, which looks beautiful and of course fits nicely in our culture here in the Southwest. And so you can see that was done on the tree.
It's very soothing. I like it. I'm not sure I see any green and red in there except for the tree. So,
Not any green and red at all in there.
so to your point that you can get creative with a lot of colors and create a Christmas, and very, as you say, very Southwesty. I like that.
And then of course in that same room we have some very simple to build stockings. And by the way, stockings don't always have to be hung on the mantle. Santa knows if they're hung on your bed. So we find all kinds of creative places to hang stockings. But these are stockings that you and your children can make together. And these are peel and stick decals that have been added to very simple off-the-shelf stockings that you buy in any of the craft stores around town. And just by simply laying some greenery along the windowsill here and putting some of the matching colored glass balls, it works beautifully.
So, very interesting. Very, very creative.
Now this is a slide that I absolutely love, and it's just fun and very whimsical. Who would have thought that you could take marshmallows and make them look like snowflakes? But that's exactly what has been done here, where we have had taken fishing line and allowed the kids to string the marshmallows together and hang them from the ceiling, and it looks like Christmas snowflakes inside your home. And of course the tree is flocked, and some folks like the look of snow on their tree, so that creates a very beautiful white Christmas.
Absolutely, white Christmas. So when it's time to take all the decorations down, you get to have a marshmallow roast and eat. Maybe not, right?
Exactly. Let the family pet eat something for
Right.
Christmas.
There you go.
And then along that same line of designing with white, this is a very simple vase that has branches that have just been spray painted. Sometimes you can find those that are already pre-manufactured with lights on them. But regardless, this is something you can use long before Christmas and you can use beyond the Christmas season.
Absolutely.
So you're investing your time well. And then with this very natural look, we've incorporated a package that's been wrapped with newspaper. What a wonderful way to use newspaper and recycle it. The text always looks nice, particularly if you use a black or a white bow. And that's what we've done here. And then if somebody really wants a colorful paper for the children, go to the comics. They provide the color.
Perfect. What a hugely creative idea. I've never heard of that before, but that would be absolutely beautiful as that is.
This is a collection that's a little more country. It's not quite as simple as the more contemporary styles that I've shown you. This is what was in a country kitchen where a simple wreath was hung. But the importance here is that a striped bow was used. We always try to remember the basics: scale, pattern, color, texture. The bottom slide, of course, shows great texture, something you really want to touch.
Absolutely.
This is a collection of wooden trees, and it's actually available through West Elm.
Very, very creative. A little, again, kind of country southwestern type of theme there.
And then back, of course, to our normal Christmas red and green decor. I think we've done something a little special with this board in the sense that the urn doesn't have flowers in it. We've taken giant candy canes and worked in the berries from your backyard, perhaps, your holly trees, and made that look very festive for Christmas. Then, of course, at the table, just using some fabric that's got red and white on it, and doing a very simple plate with a tiny little ribbon to tie your napkin is a very elegant, simple way to decorate. And of course, you'll notice that the arrangement is low so that you can see your guest across the table and have good conversation around
Yeah,
the
again,
table.
looks like something you could do and stay within your budget. We just have a few minutes left. I want to make sure we get through these, but these are really, again, look like very low cost, but exceptionally elegant executions. It's amazing what you can do with just creativity.
Well, thank you. And in this particular board, we've used magenta and chartreuse. So again, it's an adaptation of a green and red Christmas, but very shocking, very colorful. The trees are right out of the box,
Wow.
easy to put away, and fun.
Very edgy.
Yeah, very edgy.
Got a little salute to the traditional with a very creative look forward. Very nice.
And another contemporary space where we've basically used some urns with some white gravel and put just some branches in there. Throw a green pillow on the chair and you got it done.
Wow, very wintry, very holiday. Nice.
And then the last board that I would like to show, Bill, is something you can do in your office. We tend to forget about the office, but cutouts like this just applied to the wall, simple glass balls hanging with fishing line make for a very clean, crisp look.
You know, I'm just blown away by just what you can do by kind of breaking the rules, getting outside the box, and getting fresh and energetic with it. All of those are just simply breathtaking. I guess maybe our audience would like to know, what is your #1 decorating tip? Well, if you had to sum it up, is there an overarching tip you would give us? Stay calm, enjoy the season? What?
Absolutely keep it simple, stay calm. I like to work with white. It's something you can add throughout the fall season, and you can keep it into January.
Very good. Well, and maybe the most important question of all, and one we always wonder about in retrospect, when should we take our decorations down?
Well, I know a lot of people like to throw them away the morning after Christmas. I keep mine until after New Year's, but I was in Germany once and they kept them through the month of January. So I think enjoy them as long as you can.
Well, unfortunately, we're just about out of time, Dan, but that's all excellent information. I'm sure a lot of ideas our audience would love to do. If you'd like to learn more about Dan and some of the services he provides, and who wouldn't, go to leedesigngroup.com. And that's all the time that we have today for today's show, but thanks, Dan, for being with us. And if you want to stay in touch with Prime, go to our website on primetv.com or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I'm Bill Pemberton. Thanks for watching. See you next time.